And I'm already dropping stuff. welcome back welcome back. We are back together again here, and welcome to this dialogue about Daredevil: Born Again, Episode 4. How we doing, Mr. C?
Given the choice between opening our conversation here with either dropping stuff or not dropping stuff did not seem like a proper option. Let's drop some stuff. Let's drop some information. Let's drop our impressions. Feeling good here on a school night. Let's, as it says in the comment section, let's go.
Let's go, indeed. Let's go. Yeah. So, thanks for spending a little bit of your Wednesday evening with us here. And we are talking about episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again, Sic Semper Systema. Mr. C, how would you like to start us off? What did you think of this episode while I pick up my glasses from the floor?
I will say that I found a bit of a recurrent theme in that we noticed before under the description, our phraseology of sparring and verbal sparring. Yep. So there's a similarity, but also a difference to this, what we're seeing tonight or what we're seeing in the most recent drop episode. Now I'm looking at the power of persuasion and who sways who. So the recurring theme of in a conversation between two characters, which character was going to sway the other to their position, to their perspective. I'll say when we're opening up in the earlier part, you're in the nightclub and there's Soprano Jr., Danny, the goon of Fisk, and BB Uric. And so who's convincing who of what? Then you're in the therapy session between the Fisks, between Vanessa and Wilson. And again, who is convincing who of what? And so in each conversation, I don't want to get too far ahead, but I would say that was the recurring theme in every conversation between the characters. Who is the convincer? Who is the convincee? Who is swaying the other party over to change what they were thinking or what they were feeling?
That's excellent. That's excellent. For myself, I was wondering if we should have paired this one with the next episode, similar to the 2 and 3, working together here. This one is leading to something else, leading us forward, incrementally so compared to maybe the pacing between 2 and 3 and now to here. I did enjoy the episode. I'm not going to say it was filler because I don't think it was filler, but I do think that the story advanced maybe a little bit slower, a little bit more incrementally in this week's episode.
This is groundwork, man. If you're Herman Melville, do you put the conflict with the whale or in the early pages or in the later pages? I mean, come on. I think it's right where it's supposed to be for a 9-episode sequence of building up. You're visiting across many characters. There's a lot of characterization. And let me tell you, then towards you get Matt Murdock outside the courtroom, but in the hallways, running into a certain police officer and giving what for. And again, that wasn't so much of a who's swaying who. That was just a straight on. That was back to the verbal sparring. And how does Matt end the conversation? Oh, well, you're probably going to need, paraphrasing, you're probably going to need to bring more guys than what you did last time. Meaning I put a beating on you before, I'll put a beating on you again. And again, that was that mid-range stuff. But then what got me, if we're talking, maybe there wasn't so much going on. What got me really, really excited this time around, Matt is tracing things down in the physical setting. And lo and behold, who does he encounter? Who does he find to the surprise? His old pal, Frank Castle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
So to me, that was the top conversation. That was the top who's swaying who of what of the whole episode.
Do you think that Frank Castle just has badly located safe houses? Does everybody know where he is? Is it just so you could just get a drop on him? Does he have like a sign? Is it on Google Maps? Frank Castle's hideout.
I think we're supposed to interpret that as the credit, giving credit and the skills to Murdoch being able to track something down.
I'll go with that. I'll go with that. I looked out. I looked up after watching the episode that the title, which is "Sic Semper Systema," which I'm looking at my notes, which I can barely read. I probably should put on my glasses. Thus, always to the system. So it's about system change or how the systems can be disrupted. And that was a common theme throughout this episode. It even is specifically said in the conflict between Frank Castle and Red or Matt Murdock, where Frank is pushing all of Matt Murdock's buttons, right? Did Foggy get the justice that he deserved? And the criminal Bullseye got life, but did
Breathe in the same air that you are.
that's right, that's right. And so it was a demonstration of how the system that Matt Murdock otherwise wants to believe in, or wants to believe in going forward, and at this moment has failed. And there's also the commentary with the shoplifter, right, where the system has created such where he's just trying to eat. And gee, wouldn't it be cheaper for society to allow him to eat or be fed and not have to suffer through the processes of different benefit system or benefit different safety nets? And instead, he finds himself imprisoned for 10 days.
Over fiddle faddle.
Over fiddle faddle.
What a fiddle faddle about fiddle faddle. But again, that was that power of persuasion. Lawyer Matt Murdock is telling, look, this is the best deal. I'm going to find you. I'm going to go back to the opposing counsel and make the best pitch. So then there's another persuasive conversation going on. Then Matt comes back to the guy, and the guy, well, I don't want to call him unappreciative, but clearly they're trying to drive a point through the perspective of the client, the defendant that Matt's defending. So
Yeah.
Will that guy show up in another episode? That's a good question. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and actually, that reminds me that there are actually 3 incidents referring to the legal system, right? So we've got the justice for Foggy, or however we want to think about that. The justice for the shoplifter, Leroy, I think maybe was his name. And then
Foggy's name,
okay. And then yes, and then but then how the episode started, the justice for Hector Ayala, which is not quite justice, and instead he's gunned down, and his niece wants to see his body, see what they did.
Yeah. So let's not skip over that. I mean, that's a sad note, so I do kind of want to skip over it, but in the very, very beginning there, so there comes the young niece. So there's definitely she's trying to persuade, I want to see the body. I want to see my uncle. What did they do to him? They're definitely setting up for some future White Tiger from her, or at least laying some groundwork with that.
Okay. So let's go there. Do you think the niece will be the next White Tiger? Is this a Young Avengers kind of on-ramp? What do you think that might be, or is it just
I would like it to be. I would like it. Hey, Michaela, we're talking Daredevil tonight. Michaela, did you happen to check out Daredevil? Please let us know if you did. I would like to believe, and again, I don't know the actress. I don't know what she's slotted for. I don't know if the character of White Tiger is an Avengers ready character, but the Young Avengers. So yeah, let's say a younger White Tiger may or may not fit into a MCU reinterpretation of the Young Avengers from the comic pages, but I would like at least the possibility to be there. I would like to see, maybe the character has to do some build up through the Disney Plus side of things first. That much I'm not sure, but I definitely do want to see a younger White Tiger get some screen time on one size screen or the other. To your own question that you just pitched, good sir,
Mhm.
what do you figure?
Well, I think the niece is very young. If we believe that the composition of the current Young Avengers, which I think may be called Champions now, I think I read that somewhere, where you've got, oh man, Hawkeye. What's her? Kate Bishop. You've got Kate Bishop. You've got Ms. Marvel. You've got um, presumably the children of the Scarlet Witch here. Yeah, yeah, at varying ages. Although now I think we're all kind of maybe at the same age bracket roughly. So this one would be on the younger end of that continuum. But I think I would assume that's kind of the setup here because as they were going through the belongings of Hector Ayala, you were waiting for is the is that the amulet is that going to be there? And it was. That was the
And it
last thing we
was, and
saw.
it's a magic amulet, so magic could tie then into one magic wielding character to the next. So the son of the Scarlet Witch in comic pages known as Wiccan. Uh,
Mhm.
so that I would like to see the one style of magic interact with the other style of magic.
Mm, that's good. That's good. Um, just look at my notes about other forms of process. There, it is also hit right on the head where Fisk is frustrated by the bureaucracy. I don't like the red tape of trying to get development done, and instead his aide is explaining how it does need to follow a protocol. If you want to have a major development, you have to get the city to buy in and the permits and all this other socialization, and so that you've got process as defined as that bureaucracy, and you also have process. Oh golly, no, I think I actually covered the other ones. Yeah, the judicial system is what I've got. Yeah, okay. Um, where should we go next, Mister C?
Well, let me just jump in at a little tasty bit there that was kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Playing off what we said. So here, Wilson Fisk, he wants to do it his way. He is the kingpin, but now that he's in office, he has to at least somewhat go by the processes and the procedures, right? So part of those public relations events, part of the front facing, the media facing the office of the mayor, he's got to do some public appearances.
Yeah.
And on this particular day, public appearance includes visiting a grade school. And within the grade school, you have a lovely, earnest effort rendition of singing of the Starship. I guess you could say classic, but the definitely long in the tooth now song from back long ago. We built this city on rock and roll. I thought that was just an interesting setup because Starship, for those of us who follow the Jefferson Airplane in all its different incarnations, is well known as a left coast band. So here you are, the kingpin, the mayor of the biggest of the East Coast cities, is being sung to from the music that was crafted on the left coast. But then when he made a second visit, and it's the same song recurring to him, it's like it's a bit of a Groundhog Day moment for him. He cannot escape Jefferson Starship, Jefferson Airplane singing, not them singing, but their material being sung to him.
That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny to have that little comedic moment. That was pretty funny.
And the way he twisted his finger, like he can't visibly twitch and fidget. So his finger, he's like going to bend his own finger off. He can't stand to be there.
One of the first things that I saw when I arrived here in San Francisco in the Bay Area here is there was a free concert by Starship, no less. It was out in this plaza and out in this public area outside of the Ferry Building in San Francisco, and it was It was Starship. It was awesome. It was really awesome. Yeah, that's interesting. So we're learning some technical things here from Chai G. So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
As we continue to explore the simulcast format, and I tell you, he says he's comic relief, but he provides much more than comic relief
right.
around these parts.
I now noticed where I had written my note about the other form of process. So there is also within the different arcs, the different storylines, the comings and goings of different aspects of this season. It is the counseling, it's the marriage counseling between Fisk and Vanessa. And the sociologist or the therapist, Dr. Glenn, explains that part of the process is forgiveness. So, given Fisk's reluctance for red tape and wanting to break process, do you have any belief that there will be forgiveness here for Adam or for that matter, Vanessa? Should Vanessa be afraid?
I won't go out on a limb on this because I don't think it requires going out on a limb. Adam ain't getting no forgiveness, no how, no way. But again, if we're going to revisit season 1 and his love for, his obsession for, they will not keep me from, he says in the Netflix era, they will not keep me from Vanessa. So now that part is out on a limb, or we're all on the edge of the knife there. Which way are things going to go? They introduced a concept of possible violence, but she says she feels safe with him. She says it, but then she asks him, should she feel safe? So again, just because that's Kingpin's whole thing is he's ominous in his approach. So now you just that's a nuanced, excellent way to draw out another expression of his ominous appearance.
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm still wondering, does Dr. Glenn make it through the end of the season?
You got to quit scaring me with that one, man. I think the chances are low, but that is not mentally or emotionally prepared to deal with that contingency.
Yeah, yeah. I've got some more notes here, but where would you like to go next, Mr. C?
We can go. I guess again, I just mentioned a little bit. My favorite bit of the show was the Matt Murdock conversation with Frank Castle, the Daredevil conversation with the Punisher, but just that whole it was intense and conflictual. It was verbal sparring. It was emotionally raw. It was many things all at once, but it was also very collegial, and collegial probably not the best word, but there was definitely a connection between them in that, and the whole thing about first Matt chases him down, right? And just I like the way in the show that Punisher calls him Red because of his color of it. But the whole the guilt, the shame, I smell it on you. It's the same I've smelled on myself. It's like I know you as well as you know yourself because we've gone through parallel trauma and similar moments where we're destroyed down to nothing. So I just, man, Bernthal's delivery, just the scruff on the beard, the unkemptness of the hair, just everything about it. That to me was the highlight conversation of the show. And I cannot wait. I super anticipate what's coming next between these two, and the fact of referencing, as we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Bullseye. So again, will we get to see Bullseye versus Punisher coming up? What? So Frank's definitely doing stuff, but he's doing stuff in the moment, but what will be his soon? What will be in his near future?
Yeah, he's obviously doing stuff. I did watch this episode twice. Behind him is this whole thing, this whole wall of pages and papers, and I think there were arrows or things pointing up. So he's clearly scheming, he's studying, he is doing the work. But where that leads, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is to uncover who may be acting in his name, or the cult of the Punisher, or whatever is going on here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that coming ahead. I was going to look at, I as much as I really like that scene, I felt like there was something off about it. Maybe it was the writing or how it was staged. I felt like there was something maybe a little less authentic compared to the rest of the episode. Something was throwing me off. But still, it's obviously one of the most memorable aspects of last night's episode. Yeah. Another standout moment or performance is Daniel's loyalty. So Daniel now realizes that maybe you can't trust a reporter as your drinking buddy. That's probably obvious now. He has learned that lesson most definitely. But he's not fired. He's not canned. And instead, he swears his loyalty. Even if you were to do whatever you're going to do, Fisk, I will still unwaveringly be loyal to you. And that keeps him around.
I think he's sincere in saying that, but possibly also at the same time of being sincere, there may well have been some strategy in there. It's possible that young Daniel is reading the room right, and I think what is to be read in the room is that he reminds Kingpin of his younger self, and again, you don't see Kingpin extend grace or mercy or compassion to too many people, if ever. But the fact that he started, if it was a comic, they would have drawn steam coming out of his ears and off of his head.
Yep.
But then again, credit to D'Onofrio's subtlety in his acting for just, not really moving, but just changing his facial expression during Daniel's plea and during his confession. So and then pitting that against the idea of forgiveness for Adam, who's locked up in the cage, the idea of forgiveness between Vanessa and Wilson. It's the web is well woven.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not going to ask you then, do you think Daniel makes it through this episode? It feels like this is going to come to a head for sure, where he will be tested in his loyalty, and how far is he willing to go?
See, but I think they want to keep that element of danger. Yeah. You want to you reel it in, cast and reel in, cast and reel in. So I think they want to keep that element of danger. Will Daniel get his head bashed in the back alley? But I think so. Let me say flat out, for that, I expect his character then to last longer than Dr. Glenn, than the therapist character.
That may be. All right. So in this episode, we got two new characters introduced in this particular season, in the season. One is Frank Castle, now being, I guess, if the Netflix era, actually, I don't know. Does the Netflix era count as part of the MCU, or does being here now count as the MCU? I don't know how it works.
I can't say with 100% certainty, but I think they said it's all interconnected now, because this is obviously Disney Plus product right now. And so then the entire backstory or preceding story is all feeding directly in. It's not like we switched realities or what have you. So then I will say yes.
So we've got Frank Castle showing up in this season on Disney Plus, and we also have the villain of the Muse. So the Muse's name shows up in the signature line of one of the murals. We've seen a lot of the murals and other designs in the graffiti. It's not just graffiti. It's these unusual murals, various points throughout the past 4 episodes. What do you think of the Muse, Mr. C?
So let me ask out of ignorance, is Muse then this muralist? Is this the same character who's wearing the white mask with the red drippings around?
So that's correct. Yes.
We're here to do a job, so I can't. It's not for. Oh, I'm not here. I can't do the job. but then just to put a comedic. I
Yeah.
know it's TV, but just the idea of kidnaps and tortures and stuff, even though I know it's TV, I'm like, oh, come on, fast forward this. I'm not. So then it's a little bit unnerving to me.
Yeah.
Is my answer. What do I think of the character? What was your reaction to him?
Well, reading up a little bit, the Muse is a sadistic villain who is using the blood of victims to create murals or designs, from what I understand. And with this live action version, looks pretty close to how the comics render his look.
That's a not good bad guy.
Because I wondered at the end, right? Towards the end of the episode, you think it's the end, where it's going to wrap up with Matt Murdock, working out, getting back into fighting shape.
Yeah, on the
No,
road.
the episode continues. We're in the train, in the tunnels of the subway, carrying a body, and the victim there is screaming in agony. And you don't quite know what they're doing, what the Muse is doing. But yeah, we know what the Muse is doing.
So I definitely don't like the Muse guy.
Yeah.
But and if you have more material on the Muse, feel free, and I'll try to run along with you. But if you're out of material on the Muse guy, my closing point on him, I don't like him, but who I do like, who might have had just as much screen time as him, New York guy sitting on the park bench, what I believe to be Central Park, New York mustache guy. I'll check. We can check for how he's credited in IMDb. But again, the interviewee of BB Urich, I really, really like this guy as a bit player, as an exposition character, as a man on the street, as a representative of the Denzians of the Big Apple of the New York City. I really like this guy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And on this episode, I liked how there was not as much of the BB report tangent, or not tangent, a little bit of, atmosphere or color commentary about the world. This felt like the right amount of that. It felt like in one of the earlier episodes, it kind of slowed it down a bit too much for me, or there was a little bit too much of it for me. But this felt like, it felt Goldilocks. It felt just right.
Yeah, Goldilocks.
Yeah.
It's ticket.
So I think this is public information because the artist posted about it on social media. Do you know who is the artist for the murals that are showing up in Daredevil Born Again?
Oh man, I literally have no idea. My go-to guess is going to be David Mack in some kind of a way, but go ahead and hit me with the answer.
You got it right. It is David Mack. So David Mack had posted on social media that you see his work throughout this series. You see his work throughout this series. So I think the specific picture that he used for that, I think is one of there's a mural that shows up of Fisk, and this is like two of his portrait or something on top of each other. There's another image, I think, in a social media post. So I'm not sure if it's all of the murals. I was trying to keep an eye out for it when they are coming out of the bar in the beginning of the episode. BB and Daniel. There's a beautiful looking, I think, white tiger inspired mural. Doesn't quite look like David Mack's work, but he's an eclectic artist, right? He's got many different styles. So maybe that's him. But yeah, I'm like looking out for any and all artwork, because we are both fans of the Mac.
Now I will say you have had more Artist Alley table time, chat time with David Mack, longevity wise. However, there was a time where it was close in time. I think it was still Wizard World, and there's TriStar G and me, and I believe you were out of town, and then There's Mac. So we got him a whole close in time to your
Mhm.
birthday. So we got Mac was gracious enough. This is my David Mac's a cool guy story.
Mhm.
David Mack held up one of the backing boards for the comments. Happy birthday. At the request of Chai Star and me, there's Mac holding up the happy birthday sign. So we could send you the picture of that at the time. Mac's a good dude.
Mac's a great dude. Mac's a great dude. Yeah, I have gotten to meet him a few times at not WonderCon, Fan Expo. So both last year and the year prior, both me and my son got to spend a little bit of time with David Mack, and he's just phenomenal. He's a good guy, and his art is just fantastic. So I do love getting to see his artwork in this episode, in this series. Any other thoughts, comments? I think I've covered my notes, but yeah.
I'm good. I'm good to do the wrap up and the closeout because we know Chai Star within seconds is going to be saying when's the next live stream. Haha, we beat you to it, pal. We're asking the question before you ask the question. When's the next live stream? So, G, what do you have coming on the near future by way of the fanboy can't see you?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I do have this unboxing that I've yet to fully wrap up of this Squid Game action figure. So I am working on that. And there's Squid Game Soldier. So that is a thing. And yeah, there's a few other things that I just haven't gotten my act together on yet. Yep. How about you? What are we looking forward to on Mr. C Dives In?
What night are we here on? It is as we're live right here. It's a Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay. So before Saturday night, which could be Friday night, which could be Saturday morning, to be determined. We're definitely doing because Sven Gulli will be playing the first Creature of the Black Lagoon, black and white 1954 motion picture. So I will be doing a Creature of the Black Lagoon based show to highlight all the creature loot, the beach towel over there, the very black and white autograph of Riku Browning that you had sent me, and and my other assorted Creature of the Black Lagoon items.
That's fantastic. Well, looking forward to that.
You and me both.
All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. A little bit shorter, but this is just the staging to the next episode and the setup of the Frank Castle art and arc, and more things to come. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. If you're watching later, post in the comments. We'll continue the conversation with you. Looking forward to chatting again next time, and we'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Thanks. Over and out.